Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be another part of DXApi series, right? So in this video we're gonna see how to add attachments to a case, right? Different ways of doing that. So let's jump onto the video. I'll share my screen. Okay, perfect. So again we're gonna click on resources, and under resources we're gonna go to pegasystems. Perfect. So let us give it a moment to load. Sometimes it takes more than a moment. So we're gonna use again traditional DXApi constellation. We will cover later on once we are done with the traditional. And again, I'm not going to use any authentication for now. That will be a part of the later on videos where we will take the look. We'll solely have video for authentication. So now I'll choose traditional APIs, right? Over here, if you see under attachment, we have different methods, right? So over here, we're gonna use these two. Subsequently, these two methods are used subsequently to add an attachment to a case. So first of all, this method, what it does is basically, it already has explanation, so I'll just give you a gist of it. So basically, when you add an attachment using this method, the attachment gets stored into the external storage or pega database, right? And in return, that is the response, you get an unique ID, right? That ID, like in double quotes, that ID can only be used once in a case to attach an attachment to the case, right? You cannot use the same ID twice or thrice, multiple times basically. So every time you have to generate a new ID. We'll see that. Okay, so this is one method. Now after getting the ID, what we need to do is, like, we need to call the second method, which is this one over here. If you see, we are passing an ID. This would like what the ID would look like that we will receive from the first method, right? We have to send this ID and the case ID, basically the pz key of the case in which we want to add the attachment, right? Sounds simple, right? So first this one, we will receive an ID, then we'll send this ID and the case number, and then we are good. The attachments will be attached to the case, right? So one by one we'll see. So I have already since in this pega this web page, right, I cannot add the attachment over here. So what I have done is, like, I have already configured this in my Postman. So I will open my Postman. If you see, this is the one method I have already created. So over here, what I have done, I have just since over here this is post, so I've added post over here. Similarly, I've added a URL which you will get it from here itself, like whatever the URL you are using, right? And the main thing is, under body you need to go to form data. You need to add a key called content, which is of type file, right? There are two different types of files. I have added a file, and then you can add a file from your local machine. So there is an option to add the file. I have already added the file from my local machine, right? And the name is request.png, so it's kind of an image file, right? So I've just added it, and under header you need to give a key which is accept, and value is application JSON. All these information are available over here. You need to go through and you can add it over here, right? So now if you see, like, I will send the request. It takes a bit of moment, and then in the response I will get an ID. Let's wait for a moment. So over here, if you see, I have already got an ID, right? This ID, what I need to do is, now this ID I'll copy. So this is the ID which I need to send in the second method along with the case ID, right? So over here, let me see if I already have some case. So if I will open this one, right, this is my class which I'm going to use. So I already have so many instances, right? So I'm going to use this one. If I will open this one right now, if you see in the C1024, right, wait, it already has an attachment. Let me open some other one. See, let us open C1023, right? So if you see, it doesn't have any attachment right now. It doesn't have any attachment, right? C1023. So what I'm gonna need is the pz key of the case, right? So I'm gonna go to py workpage. Okay, I'll just copy the pz key over here, right? I'll copy this. Now we are good to go, right? Now again, I will come to Postman over here. Now for the second method as well, which was this one, right? This case wala, this one method I have already configured in my Postman. So what I have done is, I have added the URL over here, then the body, which is this body. I have just copy pasted it over here. Just one thing I would like to mention, there are other methods properties as well, like URL over here, but I didn't need URL, so I have not put it. If you want, you can put it. And one more thing I would like to mention is that over here you need to use this square braces over here. Basically this expects it as a list, right? So if you will not use it, then it will give you an error that it is expecting a list, but you are sending a single value, right? So just to give that, make sure that you give other square braces so that it goes in like an array, right? So I have given the square braces, this is fine. Now what else? Header. In the header you need to give that accept the key and value, this which are of two types, accept and content, and you are done. Nothing else will, since you are not using any authorization, so we have not given it. Later on we will use that and you'll see. So header is there, body is there, and the URL, right? So what I need to do is now I need to change this ID which I have got the new one. So this was the new ID which I got, which I got the new one over here, this, right? And now where do I send the case type, right? So if you see in the URL over here, this is where we are sending the PZ landscape. So let me change it to the case which we want to send it to. We wanted to send it to 1023, right? So I have pasted the PZ landscape over here in the link top, right? So let me send it. So let's wait for a moment. So if you see the status we have got is 201 created, right? So now let us go back to our dev and check if the attachment has gone attached or not. So let me refresh the case. Right now there is no attachment. Let me refresh it and wait for a second. So if you see, we have already got one, right? So let me expand it and open this. So once I open it, this is the attachment which I had attached, which is like and subscribe to request response, right? So I'm gonna close this. Perfect. Now what I would show you what I was saying earlier. So since I told you right earlier, this ID we can use only once. So now suppose if I send the same request again, I will gonna get the error, right? See, I'm getting an error called bad request because I cannot reuse the same ID. So what I need to do is, like, again I go back to the first method. I need to generate the key again. So now again I have got the new key, right? Now if I will copy this one again, right, just a second, copied, right, and again I will go back to the method, the second one method where we can attach the case. I'm going to change the ID to the new one, and good. Now if I send it, then we should get the correct response, which is 201 created. Now if I'll again refresh this case because I have added to the same case itself, then let us wait for a second. If you see, now we have two attachments. The same attachment got attached twice, right? So the thing is, we need to make sure that we use the same ID only once, right, not multiple times. So this is one way of adding the attachment to the case. Now